In this video, we're going to discuss one type of quadratic word problem where you're asked to find two consecutive numbers and you're given either their sum or their product. Let's look at an example. Let's say you have a question that tells you to find two consecutive negative numbers that when multiplied, their product is 72. So how would we answer this question? We know we have two numbers, so we have number 1 and we have number 2. To answer this question, we're going to use x to represent the first number, and since we know that they're consecutive, whatever the second number is, it's x plus 1. So let's say x is 4, then x plus 1 would be 5, which is a consecutive number. Let's say they had said consecutive odd numbers, or consecutive odd integers, we would have to use x and x plus 2, because let's say x is 5, x plus 1 would be 6, which would be an even number, and we want an odd number, so we would have to do x plus 2, which is 5 plus 2, which is 7, which is the consecutive odd integer. So let's go back to this problem. We have two numbers now, x and x plus 1, and their product is 72. So let's set up the problem. X times x plus 1 is equal to 72. Now all we have to do is solve this like a regular quadratic equation. We're going to distribute the x. X times x is x squared. X times 1 is x. X squared plus x is equal to 72. In order to solve this equation, we want to set it equal to 0. We want to set one side equal to 0 and have everything else on the other side. So we're going to subtract the 72 and subtract the 72. X squared plus x minus 72 is equal to 0. Now there are a number of ways we could solve this equation. We could either use factoring. Completing the square would be difficult because a is 1, which is an odd number. Or we could use the quadratic formula. We're going to use the quadratic formula just because 72 is a very large number and we'd have to find factors of negative 72 that add up to positive 1, and we'd have to go through a lot of factors of negative 72. So let's use the quadratic formula instead. The quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now all we need to do is plug in our a, b, and c values. X is equal to negative b, in this case is 1, plus or minus the square root of b, in this case is 1, squared minus 4 times 1 times c, which is negative 72, over 2 times a, which is 1. Let's simplify this. X is equal to negative 1 is negative 1, plus or minus the square root of, let's just punch everything into the calculator. 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 72, and enter. 289 over 2 times 1 is just 2. X is equal to negative 1 plus or minus is 289 a perfect square? Let's check. 17, it is a perfect square. Negative 1 plus or minus 17 over 2. So let's break this up into two separate problems. We have x is equal to negative 1 plus 17 over 2, and we have x is equal to negative 1 minus 17 over 2. Negative 1 plus 17 is 16 over 2 is 8. So either x is equal to 8 or negative 1 minus 17 is negative 18 over 2 is negative 9. And if we go back to our question, we need consecutive negative numbers. So we can't use the 8, and one of our numbers is going to be negative 9 because x is negative 9. But our other number is negative 9 plus 1, which is negative 8. So our two consecutive negative numbers, their product is 72, are negative 9 and negative 8.